Coming up on Naperville News 17, a long vacant building may soon be back in business. Our city weathers some historic cold, and local color guard groups throw an amazing competition. Hello everyone, I'm Kim Pierce. Thanks for joining us for this week's Naperville News. Something may finally fill the vacant Dominics Building on Route 59. When Dominics shuttered in 2013, Albertsons, the parent company of Jewel Osco, picked up the lease and left the building vacant, preventing a competing grocer from moving in. But that lease expired late last year, and Albertsons did not renew. Though nothing is set in stone yet, there have been inquiries from fitness centers, boutique grocers, and more.
So I think that we're excited for the possibilities. The main thing is that we now have an opportunity to lease it, and so that's great for the city. It's going to be great for that business district, and it's just a sigh of relief that we don't have to sit there for another 5 years.
Albertsons still has the lease on the old Dominics Building on North Aurora Road. Naperville's energy will soon be a little bit greener. Right now, Naperville is in a long-term contract with Illinois Municipal Electric Agency to buy electricity, 90% of which comes from coal. But the city wants to change that.
So one of the things that we have been urging them to do is to invest more in renewable. And so they have invested in wind primarily, and now we're starting to get into solar. So Naperville, we're very pleased that Naperville will be the recipient of one of 4 solar power plants.
The new 1 megawatt solar power plant will be located on 6 acres of land at the Springbrook Water Reclamation Facility. Construction should begin this summer and be complete by the end of this year. The new solar power plant will make enough electricity to power 145 homes a year. One benefit to all this recent cold weather, Naperville's ice rinks have finally opened up. After an unseasonably warm start to winter, the influx of cold air allowed the Naperville Park District to finally open up the outdoor ice rinks. Ice skating season will continue until February 15th, but the rinks do start to melt as temperatures climb into the mid-30s. If you want to hit the ice, always be sure to check the Naperville Park District's cancellations page to confirm that the rinks are open. An early celebration of the Chinese Lunar New Year was a tasty way to say hello to the Year of the Pig. Our own Antonia Acuna was there.
Over 600 people joined together at the 3rd annual United Chinese American Illinois Chapter Charitable Jiaozi Fest for early celebrations of the Chinese Lunar New Year.
It's really a culture event, a culture fair, and the purpose of Jiaozi Fest is really we want to share with the whole community about Chinese culture.
29 stations filled 3 different rooms at Pacifica Square in Aurora for hands-on traditional activities like puzzles and paper folding, and of course, jiaozi making. So what is jiaozi? It's a dumpling and one of the most popular dishes in Chinese culture, especially during this time of year. To make one, you simply roll out the dough, add a spoonful of ground meat or veggies to the center, fold and pinch the edges, then boil or fry to finish. Families traditionally eat the dumplings between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. on the eve of the new year.
We'll eat jiaozi during this period of time because this is the time you say goodbye to the last year and then you welcome the new year.
It's all a tasty way to bring communities together.
What we want is to share with people that Chinese Americans, we're just like Americans, that we share the same value of giving back. We share the same value of family, obviously, and that we are a lot more similar than different.
Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Antonia Acuna.
Earning the rank of Eagle Scout is an honor that few young people achieve, but for one nearby family, it's become a regular triumph. Our own Casey Krajewski tells us their story.
Only 4% of Boy Scouts go on to be Eagle Scouts. But for the Schrammick family in Aurora, that number is 100%. When youngest son Tim was awarded his Eagle Medal and patch on January 20th, he joined his older brothers Joe and Tom in Scouting's highest rank.
I like the outdoors and that. So I had a lot of fun hiking and doing all like the pack things. Pinewood Derby was a lot of fun, camping. But I guess like what got me really into it at the start was my brothers doing it.
Even their parents are involved. Janet Schrammick is a scoutmaster, and Kevin was a Boy Scout himself and has served as committee chairman for his son's troops, among other positions. That family-wide connection to the scouting world made it an even more satisfying experience to watch their sons get their eagles.
Just to be very proud of watching them grow and learn and do all that work. And when they walk out after they get, the board tells them you get it, it's like this big weight lifted off. But it's all the same time, it's like, wow, that's an accomplishment.
As a senior at Oswego East High School, Tim is still looking at colleges for next year. Joe is studying industrial technology at Mississippi State, and Tom is studying finance at Arizona State. And with 3 Eagle Scouts in the same family, it's safe to say the Schrammick boys have soared above expectations.
Well, I was very proud of all my sons to do that. I mean, that's a great achievement and everything. It's a lot of hard work and everything. They all did it and everything. They all persevered.
For Naperville News 17, I'm Casey Krajewski.
Tim's Eagle project involved clearing an invasive species. Tom beautified the Oswego Knights of Columbus Hall, and Joe organized a youth fishing seminar. Coming up, sub-zero temperatures recently swept into our area. We'll share how the city reacted.
There's no better time than now to be more informed about what's happening in your town. And that's where your community television station, NCTV 17, comes in. We offer a free and easy way to stay connected and informed with Naperville Now. This 2-minute video features top news stories sent straight to your email once a day, Monday through Friday. And best of all, it's free.
The Fifth Avenue redevelopment plan still remains in Phase 1.
Always be in the know with daily news updates from Naperville Now. Sign up today.
And that's what's happening right here in Naperville.
Visit nctv17.com/subscribe.
Naperville Crime Stoppers.
Yes, I'd like to report some suspicious activity in my neighborhood. How does this work?
Yes, thanks for calling. Your call is anonymous, and I'll not ask for your name. Instead, you'll be identified by tip number. In a few weeks, call back with the tip number you received, and I will let you know the status of your tip. If an arrest is made, you could receive a reward up to $1,000.
How do I get the reward money if you don't know who I am?
Well, when you call back, we set up a time and a place to drop the money. You will be safe, and nobody will know you gave Crime Stoppers a tip.
Okay, well, here's what's going on.
Historically low temperatures recently swept through Chicagoland. Naperville News 17's Christine Lena tells us how Naperville took on the deep freeze.
The city of Naperville met with its internal and external partners to plan a few days ahead of the extreme cold.
We haven't had temperatures like this since 1985, I'm told, so this is a potentially very, very dangerous situation. So pulling in all the stakeholders in our community, making sure that they're aware of what we're doing, so we're aware of what they're doing, so that there's good communication and that appropriate amount of resources are available to everybody.
The National Weather Service reported Naperville reached a high of just -15 degrees on Wednesday, January 30th, with the wind chill reaching as low as -55. In those sub-zero temperatures, frostbite could threaten exposed skin in just 5 to 10 minutes. As a result, dozens of Naperville entities, such as the Park District and both school districts, closed facilities that Wednesday and Thursday. City officials were primarily focused on taking preventative safety measures.
We are planning on having our full staffing and all of our ambulances up, all 8 of our ambulances, for both Wednesday and Thursday from 0700 until 0700 the next day. So for 2 shift days, by that time, we think the temperatures are planning on going back down to normal.
Record-breaking weather, Naperville surely won't forget. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Christine Lena.
Bitter cold weather poses an extra danger to homeless people. Naperville News 17's Blaine Irwin checked out what our local shelters did to help out during the polar vortex.
While it may be unpleasant to get in our cars and drive to work on days with cold winter weather, we have it easy. For the hundreds of homeless people in our community, the bitter cold poses a deadly threat. Frostbite can threaten exposed skin in just 5 to 10 minutes in sub-zero temperatures. And though dressing warm can delay hypothermia, if you're outside long enough in the cold, you're at risk. These conditions pose a unique danger to homeless people who have to spend lots of time outside, even when staying with overnight shelters like DuPage Pads or Hesed House.
Most of our guests that stay here, transportation is either on foot or by bike. So, to be exposed to the temperatures and with the snow, it's hard to walk, so it takes a lot longer. So it's a very dangerous time. We are very concerned.
Hesed House responds to the cold by opening the doors to their shelter 24/7 so their clients don't have to risk going outside. DuPage Pads doesn't have a permanent shelter like Hesed House does, so they respond by extending their overnight hours, giving rides to clients who need them, and by opening their client services building as a warming center.
We are working with our volunteers to try and extend the hours in the morning and then also in the evening to welcome people in earlier.
The goal is to minimize the amount of time anybody has to spend outside in the dangerous cold. Both organizations rely on volunteers to keep things running, and thankfully, they don't mind braving the cold to help out.
We've seen our volunteers just actually be heroic because they know that they're bringing dinner, for example, for the folks that are staying here. So they make every effort to overcome whatever obstacles they might be facing just to get here to be able to serve the people.
For Naperville News 17, I'm Blaine Irwin.
And when the weather turns cold, we also need to keep a close eye on our four-legged friends. When sub-zero temperatures hit, they aren't just a danger to us, but to our furry friends as well. The Naperville Humane Society recommends if pet owners take out their dogs in the cold, they do so sparingly.
Well, the most important thing to me is to keep them inside. Yes, your dogs have to go out. They have to go out to relieve themselves, but it needs to be just that and to come back in. There are those dogs that aren't going to really care if it's cold outside or not. They love to be out, but it's really important that they go out, do what they need to do, and then come back inside.
With snow on the ground, your dog's fur can get wet, chilling them faster. Pet owners should be observant of their dog, as they'll show signs of being uncomfortable.
Shivering is one thing, but you will definitely see them start to lift their feet. My dog in particular, the other day, he was lifting 2 feet off the ground because we'd been out there just a couple of minutes. So when they start to lift their feet and they are hesitant to put their feet down, get them back inside.
And when your dog comes back in,
wash your dog's feet and dry them. Sometimes salt can get in between the pads and cause irritation. Sometimes they can cut the pad, so it's important to inspect the feet every day.
Dogs can develop hypothermia in just 10 minutes in below zero temps. So remember,
if you are cold, they are cold.
Dogs experience hypothermia if their temperature dips below 98 degrees. After the break, a warm place to stay when the weather turns cold.
Once you stop taking prescription medications, it's easy to forget about them. But it's important to dispose of them and to do so properly. Do not flush them down the toilet, which can be hazardous to the environment, or throw them in the trash where kids and pets may find them. Instead, safely dispose of prescription medications in one of the medication drop boxes in the area. For a complete list of drop-off locations, visit communityallianceforprevention.org.
Since 2001, families and friends have been caught reading Positively Naperville. At home, around town, and all over the world. Thanks for reading, in print and online.
Exposure to extremely low temperatures brings the danger of frostbite. Naperville News 17's Antonio Acuna tells us how to prevent it.
Cold weather calls for extra layers. Make sure to bundle up when stepping outside because, as medical professionals from Edward Hospital note, Being out for too long in sub-zero wind chills can lead to hypothermia and frostbite.
These temps, you can get frostbite in 5-10 minutes of uncovered skin outside, so you want to make sure if you have to go outside that you're definitely bundled up.
Keep an eye out for red or white skin, numbness, or a stinging and burning sensation, as it may be a warning sign for frostbite.
The fingertips, the toes, the nose, and the ears are the things that we worry about the most.
If you do see these warning signs, gradually warm up and avoid hot water, as it can burn the skin. When temperatures drop low with wind chills below 0 degrees, Dr. Schubel recommends just staying indoors. But if you do have to be outside,
Be out as short periods of times as you can. You know, stay dry, stay well bundled, lots of layers. Things like with your boots, you want to make sure you don't have too many layers on because you don't want to sacrifice blood flow. So well-fitting clothes, stay well hydrated.
frigid winters can be long-lasting but are not forever. So until then, be prepared, stay warm, and don't forget to check on those who may need extra help. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Antonia Acuna.
When you do need to get out of the cold, there are a number of places throughout our area that will help you warm up. DuPage County has named dozens of public spaces as warming centers this winter, with 6 located in Naperville.
Short of putting staff's lives at risk, which we don't think we will be doing, we're happy to be open and be available for the public to come and use the library, stay warm, read a book, entertain yourself, ask a reference question. We'll be here.
Along with the Naperville Township and Lisle Township buildings, all 3 Naperville public libraries are acting as warming centers during their regular hours of operation. For the libraries, that means 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Of course, there are homeless people. People don't often think of that. We do have homeless people, and being a warming center doesn't get them through the night, but it does get them through the day. We also have a lot of people who come and spend the day here. We serve almost as an adult daycare center sometimes.
If you or someone you know is looking for a warming center, a full list of locations in DuPage County can be viewed at dupagechrist.org. For folks on the road this winter, it's not always the cold that's the problem, so much as the ice it brings. Our own Christine Lena tells us what to watch for.
Driving around Naperville this winter means being on the lookout for icy roads.
Conditions are ripe after a deep freeze or a long cold period, and that we do get a warming up period because the snow melts on the road and then it freezes again at night. So drivers should be very aware of that. Just because there's salt on the road melting snow doesn't mean that moisture goes away. It can come back in the form of ice.
And sometimes that can mean the forming of black ice. The clearness makes it hard for most to spot, especially while driving.
So if a driver runs into black ice, what's going to happen is they're going to feel their car slide one way or the other. If that happens, it's very easy to get out of. Take your foot off the accelerator, do not hit the brake, and steer the direction you want your car to go in until you're under control again.
Drivers should also be careful of ice on bridges and in areas where you can see snow blowing over the road. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Christine Lena.
Public Works says rock salt stops working when temperatures drop below 15 degrees. So they suggest switching to sand to get traction. Known as the silent killer, this deadly gas is most dangerous this time of year. Naperville News 17's Casey Krajewski tells us about CO.
Carbon monoxide poisoning kills hundreds of Americans every year. But the colorless, odorless gas is especially deadly in the winter. According to the Center for Disease Control, 36% of carbon monoxide deaths occur in December, January, and February.
So carbon monoxide is often generated from heat-producing appliances. And so as you can imagine, in the wintertime, furnaces are running quite often, and we're not running those furnaces in the summertime. Those heat-producing appliances, hot water heaters, the byproducts of that combustion is what releases that carbon monoxide.
The good news is it's an easy accident to prevent. Tips include installing a carbon monoxide detector on each level of your home, having all gas, oil, and coal-burning appliances inspected every year, and not leaving a running car in the garage, even if the door is open. But if you think you or someone you're with is suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning, don't hesitate to call 911. Symptoms can include a severe headache or flushed skin.
It is absolutely an immediate emergency. Carbon monoxide can actually cause your blood cells to not get the oxygen they need by forming a sheath on the outside with those molecules of the carbon monoxide. And I know that's a little bit technical, but getting that out of the bloodstream is extremely important and urgent. So calling 911 is most important.
For Naperville News 17, I'm Casey Krajewski.
It is recommended that you replace your carbon monoxide detectors every 6 years. Coming up, a healthy way for families to fight.
Give the gift of downtown Naperville. Treat someone special to a great shopping, dining, or spa experience with Downtown Naperville gift cards. Good at more than 150 businesses. Purchase them at 4 convenient locations or online and have them mailed directly to the lucky recipient. Best of all, there's no purchasing fee. Just choose an amount and send. It's that easy. The perfect gift for anyone at any time.
I definitely will be one of those parents, since my kids were in kindergarten and now they're in high school, middle school. Anytime there's an opportunity for me to have a communication with teachers, I'm the first one to sign up.
For me, I'm a much more laid-back approach to letting my kids take care of their school situation by themselves and having ownership of it and ownership of their grades and ownership of their homework.
I love always hearing the perspective that teachers have on your kids. You think you know your kid, and then it's always interesting to hear a different perspective of how they are outside the home.
A martial art believed to have originated in present-day Japan, karate is now practiced by an estimated 50 million worldwide. And in the 1980s, a young camp-goer, Bob Blair Smith, came across it.
There's a counselor from Japan named Kazu Hori, and he performed katas and performed karate moves for the campers, and then he did clinics. And that was the first time I didn't pick it up again until I had kids of my own and came out here to the western suburbs.
Blair Smith has been taking karate now for 8 years, an activity many parents can enjoy with their children.
You can't really do basketball, right, with the height difference, or I can't think of really any other sport, maybe softball, but then kids have a different developmental level for that. So I think this is really one of the few family fitness activities I think that they can do together, even if they're at different skill levels, different ages, different body types and heights. And so, yes, I now train 3 days a week, and sometimes I'm with mostly adults. Days like tonight, I'm the only adult, or one of only 2 or 3. So that aspect of it is great.
Milos Kaplarovich was practicing karate in Serbia before coming to the United States, and he enrolls in one class while his son is in another. For now,
he's kind of still young, 6 years old. Never had any competition, or actually a couple exams. He got a couple exams so far, so definitely helps adults, kids, everyone. And they have also a program like when he turns 7, we can actually practice together. And I'm actually looking for that moment.
The classes, run by the Naperville Park District, are structured around skill level and belt ranking, allowing families to start and progress together.
We started with no experience, both of us, and we started together. We've been in it since 2012.
7 years ago, David Rooney was looking for a martial arts class that would help his young son focus and learn how to follow instructions. He found the Illinois Shotokan Karate Club.
It's been fun to kind of watch him grow in karate as well as, in normal life.
I think it's very good if a parent participates in this activity with their child, because it allows them both to grow as individuals and as people who do karate, and it allows them both to practice together and get stronger.
Anai Apte and Kyle Tran are 12 and 11 respectively, and both don purple belts. And while neither has a parent in this class, both find karate useful in multiple ways.
Mostly I like all the techniques that they show us and how people can know it and then they can actually use it. And as my friend said, you can use it as competitively, or if you're in an accident, then you can actually use it for good.
And even for those in good shape, karate can still kick you into even better shape.
I was surprised at how much it hurt the first couple times because the amount of flexibility I underestimated. I thought I was in really good shape, but the flexibility needed was a lot more, so it's been good for part of my kind of working in with my other workouts to get that aspect.
And while karate has been around for hundreds of years, the 2020 Olympics will be the first to feature the martial art on the world's biggest athletic stage. Even more reason to rep those punches and those kicks. Reporting for Sports Story Sunday, I'm Kevin Jackman.
And in other sports news, the first state championship of the 2019 calendar year goes to Naperville North. Congratulations go out to the Huskies competitive dance team on their first ever state title with a final round score of 95.42. It's the third state championship this school year for Naperville North to go along with boys soccer and girls cross country. Before the sub-zero temperatures hit our area, the Naperville Stepperette Cadets hosted the 2019 Midwest Color Guard Circuit. Christian Canizal has the story.
Over 40 teams, including 5 from the Naperville area, competed in the 2019 Midwest Color Guard Circuit. Teams throughout Illinois and the northwest parts of Indiana performed in front of the Naperville North Gymnasium crowd of nearly 800.
This is a group of teams that get together that are both from a particular school and who work independently from a variety of schools. And this is our opening weekend. Our season goes until about the 1st of April.
Representing the independent groups of Naperville were Stepperette Cadets, Stepperette X-Guard, and Perpetuum, along with Naperville Central and Naperville North representing the high schools. The preparation paid off with some beautiful performances.
You kind of go like blank to everything. You sort of start moving, going through the movements almost like a dream where you kind of know what's going on and you're controlling yourself, but you don't really quite have total control just because your body sort of takes over rather than your mind. And it's really nice feeling, just like, it's a little stressful, but it's really relaxing and it's a beautiful moment to be in.
Routines range from kids performing upbeat hit songs to more emotional shows like Naperville Central's Empty Chair routine.
Even if you don't have a family member in like the military, Navy, or Air Force, or any like of the U.S. troops, you can still relate to the empty chair at the dining table when a loved one is passed, or even if they're not dead, when they leave and then you don't see them for like a few times within a year.
Perpetuum, Naperville Central, and North all finished in the top 3 of the respective groups, but final placings weren't the only thing that made the competition worthwhile.
The energy going between us all, it was amazing, and it's not really describable how much the energy can affect you and how good it feels, you know?
For Naperville News 17, I'm Christian Canizal.
Naperville Central will host their Color Guard competition on February 10th. And that's what's happening right here in your neighborhood, Naperville. We'll see you next week. Until then, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our website, nctv17.com, for daily updates.
This week's Naperville News 17 is brought to you in part by the following sponsors. This program is partially funded by a grant from the City of Naperville.